and I make videos about sewing, and today I'm in my new sewing space, my camper van, which is really exciting. I've got the Jackery, which is going to work my sewing machine, I hope. Tested it yesterday and it worked. So it's my little portable sewing space because I don't actually have a sewing room in our house. So this is it for the moment. Let's hope this works. In today's episode, I am going to be using some of these tiny blue Liberty scraps. They're Liberty Tana Lawn. Someone kindly gifted them to me, one of my subscribers. They're really bitty, they're really tiny, but we don't throw anything away, do we? So let's see what we can do with them. So an idea I had was, I have this beautiful book, which I have made a bag using 4 of the blocks. And I thought, can I use Liberty scraps to make anything from this book? So I've had a little bit of a look through, and at the end, they've got some really nice, let me find the page. They've got a butterfly, which I like, and also a monster relief, or as we would say in the olden days, Swiss cheese plant. I think they were called a cheese plant. So I'm going to attempt that, see how that goes. I've cut out the template already. There we go. There's the template. So I've just cut that out on freezer paper. What I need to do is iron out all the little pieces, or enough so I can cover this and some extra, because I can make some other bits and pieces as well. I'll give you some more ideas later. On some interfacing, which I've got in here. This is sticky on one side, so when I can lay them out on the sticky side, iron them first, lay them on the sticky side, and then iron them again. So I've laid them out so they all look nice. I'll take a little video as I'm doing it so you can see, and then I'll come back to you when we're at the next stage. Hopefully they'll iron out nicely. I'm sure they will. They're really pretty. So I've ironed all the little pieces I'm going to use, and I've laid them out on top of the interfacing, and then I'm going to iron them to keep them in place. So there we are, that's the piece of fabric I've made, and I've still got lots of the scraps left. So actually, when you iron them, and I've done this before, when you iron them out, it's surprising how far they go. So I would say it's worth taking the time to iron. It's a bit annoying, it's not fun to do, it takes ages. Well, I say it's not fun, it's nice looking through the fabric, and because it wasn't my fabric, someone gifted them to me, it was nice discovering all the different patterns and the colour, well, they're all blue, but all the different variations of blue and all the different patterns and everything. So that was actually enjoyable. What I'm going to do next is snip those little bits. Anything is overlapping too much and I don't like the look of it, I'm just going to give that a little snip. Here's my template, so I'm going to put that on the back. Draw around it. Now that is, because I've put it on freezer paper, that is a little bit wobbly. So what you could do is glue that onto some card and then cut that out. I might do that actually, and then I'll have a template I can use again and again if I want to make hundreds of cheese plant leaves on things. When you open the book, I forgot I'd laid all those in there. Let's take those out, those are going to go flying everywhere. So I also have a little selection of kind of yellowy and one pink, but sort of a different selection there, which I may or may not use, I don't know. Oh, I've got a little bag here. Perfect little bag. So I'll put them in there in case I need them, in case I do need them from a different design. But as I said, I haven't decided what else I'm going to make. Let's have a look. There's a blue piece there. Keep them organised, Lily. I couldn't really find anything from the book, so I've drawn up my own sketch of some little flowers. Let's try that as well. So we've got the monstera and we've got some little flowers. So now I'm going to cut these out. I decided to stitch a few rows of stitching on my machine just to keep all the little pieces in place. Each row about 1/4 inch apart. All stitched. I'm now going to cut out the exact shape now. So I'm going to put it on a pre-made tote bag, stitch it on, see how it looks, and I think it needs a little bit of possibly green embroidery, do we think, to make it look a bit greener. Time for coffee and some embroidery. This is the stage I'm at with the flowers. So they've all been glued onto the fabric. I did use a bit of interfacing on the back, and I've glued them on with my English paper piecing pen, the glue stick. So you don't need interfacing, you could just glue it on, but I've used interfacing just because Tana lawn is so fine really. I felt like I needed something, and I didn't use Bonder Web, which was double-sided sticky, because then I couldn't really move them around, but I wanted to move them around, so I stuck them onto the interfacing, and then I could lay them out and everything, and then I could just pop my pen a little bit underneath and then just glue them on exactly where I wanted them. The fabric is an old shirt of my husband's, which it was white and it's got the little dots on, but I've dipped that into some tea. Earl Grey tea, I'm sure builder's tea or any flavour tea would be the same, brown tea, and I've dyed the fabric, so I want that kind of effect. And I think it makes a really good backdrop for these. So I'm now going to embroider them. I think I'm going to do French knots on the tops there, and then just a running stitch in different colours around the edge. First time I've really done this kind of embroidery, sort of on scrappy work like this, so I'm going to see how I get along with it really, and what it looks like. It's going to be a bit of experimentation, and just a quick look at the finished bag, although I'm going to embroider on that as well. So there we go, that's a little leaf in the corner. I'm going to do some embroidery around just so you can see the shape of it a bit more. And that was just literally on I think you can get them in Hobbycraft in the UK for a couple of pounds or something, just for a bag. So if you want to do something and you can't sew or make bags or anything, you can buy something like this fairly cheap, and then you can make a little project and just stitch it on. It was quite hard to do it on the machine. You could hand sew this, but it was quite hard doing it on the machine. You have to put it in the edge bit in here really, so that sort of machine goes in there, and then you don't go and stitch through both sides of the fabric. So that was a bit fiddly, but you could always sew it higher up or in the middle, and then you wouldn't be, because I'd chosen to do it in the corner, it was made it a bit more difficult on myself. You can get little makeup bags, little pouches, any of these little pre-made ones, so that's just an idea, or something you've already got. And obviously you don't have to make a leaf, you don't have to even cut out a template. The templates are good, you could trace anything really, but the templates are good if you can't really draw, but you could draw something up yourself, or as I say, look in any book. It hasn't got to be even a sewing book. You can trace a butterfly or any shape that you wanted to, and just make something scrappy like this. And they're fun to make, and you're reusing your scraps, which is the good thing, isn't it? We're not throwing things away. So I'm going to do a little bit of embroidery now and have a coffee and enjoy. I feel like I'm on holiday I'm not on holiday. I'm in the van, but we're not on holiday. If you have one of these needle minders, you can also put them on a tin, like so. I've chosen this in the end. There's no shame in using a needle threader. So I'm just doing a running stitch just up there, and I'm going to go along the leaves, a running stitch along each one. Here are the flowers all laid out. Don't they look pretty? And these are the embroidery threads, the colours that I've chosen. I'm going to be embroidering with them, just using a running stitch and a French knot along the buds. I'm going to pop a video up at the end of both of the finished items, and one of them was obviously the bag. The flowers, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to make with that, so that's just going to be on the fabric at the moment, but in future I will make that into something else. Let me know if you sew anywhere different like I am today in my van and how you felt about it. I've loved it. I feel like I'm outside, but I haven't got the sun. It's so hot at the moment, I couldn't even sit and sew in the sun, so I've got a nice breeze coming in and I feel like I've been on holiday. It's wonderful. I work in my house, I sew in my house, I do YouTube in my house, so it's just really nice to do something somewhere else. I've absolutely loved it. So I hope it's come out okay and you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think and if I should do future episodes in the van. I do want to, so please say yes. And yeah, video of the things I've made at the end. And I've got one top tip before I go. Scissors, curved scissors, which I think these are actually toenail scissors, worked beautifully for cutting out those flowers, those curved petals. So if you're ever cutting out anything curved, maybe not necessarily from a pattern, but if it's your own freestyle and you're kind of drawing it yourself and you just want a curve and it's quite scrappy, then these worked beautifully. So that's my top tip. Stay to the end if you want to see the video of the finished items, and I will see you again next time. Have a lovely week, everyone. Bye.